Hi there, my name is Michelle Hoff. I'm a conference interpreter and a trainer here at the University of La Laguna on the Masters in Conference Interpreting that we have here. And that's what I'd like to spend the next couple of minutes talking to you about, a little bit about what we do down here on this course. Although maybe first I should introduce myself. I not only train here the students of the next generation of interpreters, I'm also a professional interpreter myself. I work for the European institutions. I also work a bit on the private market in Spain. I'm also a member of AIC and have been since 2004. But now to the course that we run here at the University of La Laguna. It's a master's program which takes place here at the university. La Laguna, in case you don't know, is on the Canary Islands, on the beautiful island of Tenerife, which is just off the coast of Africa, although politically it's part of Spain. Down here we teach conference interpreting, which means basically we teach simultaneous interpreting in the booth as well as consecutive note-taking to our students. The course itself is run according to the European credit transfer system, so it meets all the European credit requirements. There are 60 credits, which is equivalent to 1 full year, or about 1,500 or 1,800 class hours. The classes take place on the campus here and start in October and run through till the beginning of June. Now, looking just briefly at the students, who is it that we train? Mostly our students are training to become interpreters in the Spanish booth. That means they will be working into Spanish from whatever other languages they speak. But also, every year, we have the possibility of training students in other booths as well. This year, we're training a group of 4 students for the English booth. In recent years, we've also trained German, French, and Italian interpreters. And in past years, we've had the opportunity to train interpreters in less common languages such as Slovene or Polish. Really, it depends on the demand, who applies for the course, how they do on the aptitude tests, and whether it's possible to set up a particular booth in a particular year. Looking at just briefly at the history of the course, it is the longest standing conference interpreting course in Spain at a Spanish university. It was founded back in 1988. And has run since then. It was also one of the first courses to join the EMCI consortium, which is the European Masters in Conference Interpreting, which is a collaborative product that brings together European universities from across the European Union to train conference interpreters. As to how we actually practically do things in the classroom, I can say that the groups in the classroom are very small. Generally speaking, there are no more than 8 or 9 students in any given class, and for some of the less common languages, you can be working by yourself with a teacher, say for Greek or Portuguese, where there might be only 1 or 2 students. The total student body for the entire course in any given year is never any more than 18. So, as I'm sure you can imagine, there's a lot of personalized individual attention given to each of the students over the course of the year. These students, upon graduation, will often end up moving on to work as professional interpreters at the European institutions, at the UN, on the private market. Many of them also will end up joining AIC, which is the International Association of Conference Interpreters. I can attest to that because I've seen many of my former students actually join me up in Brussels and Strasbourg, or I see them as members of the Spain region for AIC, so they are there and they're now contributing as professionals to the interpreting profession. If I could just talk briefly about who teaches on the conference interpreting course we've got down here. The instructors are people like myself. They're trained professional conference interpreters. Some work at the European institutions, others will work on the private market, but all of them bring their professional experience with them into the classroom. All classes are taught by 2 teachers, so we have the interpreter on the one side who trains in the technique, and their team teacher who is a native speaker in whichever language that class is being given in for a particular day. So for instance, this morning I had a class of German into English and Spanish interpretation. There was a native speaker of German who was giving the speeches, and then I and another colleague were commenting on the performance in English and Spanish that the students were giving. The master's course down here in La Laguna also benefits from a number of visiting instructors on a regular basis. We've got people coming down from the European institutions in Brussels. They're sent on what's known as the Pedagogical Assistance Program, where they come down to visit the EMCI courses. Their teachers will spend a week or a few days here working with our students and also with the trainers. We also get visitors coming from the UN, from the private market, and they'll always come and work with the students and share a bit of their own professional experience with them, either over the course of seminars or sitting in on classes or however it works out. Just to give you a couple of examples, last year I sat in on a seminar that was held by a staff interpreter from Geneva, working at the UN, who gave students a really good idea of how things work at the UN, what it's like to be an interpreter there. She also gave some very useful tips as to how to get their foot in the door and how to apply to work as freelancers and how things worked on a very practical level in Geneva. And just last week, just another example of a visitor that we had the council member for Spain, the representative of AIC in Spain, come down and spend an hour or so talking to students about how to take their first steps in the professional market, how to get started as an interpreter, sort of do's and don'ts and questions they might want to ask and things that they want to keep in mind as they get started as professionals. So that's what I wanted to tell you about the master's course down here at La Laguna. I hope you liked what you heard, and I look forward to possibly seeing you here in class one day.